showing up for this. I'm Gretchen. I'm the organizer with Runners4Justice and a ceasefire ambassador. And so I want to just first take a moment to let everybody kind of put their name into this space. If you want to share, a lot of times we start with like a grounding thing of sharing kind of what space you're in this morning. If you're in more of a thinking space and you're up in your mind, if you're more of like a heart feeling space, if you're in the more of in your body and action space, or like a spiritual kind of moral feeling space today. So if you want to share that as well as we go around, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. I think for me today, it's always a feeling space. Thinking about the losses we have in Baltimore is always a feeling space for me, is where I am today. And also the action space, because for me, like movement really helps when I'm in that feeling space, to like be in community, to be with all of you, to move, helps to like get all of it out and replace it with like positive feelings. So I want to kind of take in some of the pain, but then be able to let out some like peace and some joy to our community. So that's kind of where I am today.
I'm Holly. I'm definitely in a feeling space. I always feel like I'm in a feeling space. It's just who I am anyway. So I'm in a feeling space. I'm also in a thinking space. How I can do more. I've been really tired lately. I don't know what's going on. So just being able to prioritize my time better. So kind of in a thinking space in that way.
If y'all don't want to be videotaped, put your hand up. All right? I got you. I knew it was coming.
Hey, I'm Nomita. I've just come here, brought my heart, ready to connect.
I'm Dan, everybody. I'm probably in a feeling space. I was just kind of feeling lucky to be where I am in this place and trying to understand or let go of my privilege and to have be so lucky and understand where I can be humble and be in spaces with folks who need love and support and in the city. So that's where I am today.
I'm Hillary, and I think I'm in a feeling space today. As we were driving over here, I was thinking about all those people over all the years whose lives we've lost and who are struggling, and how so many of our systems feel frustrating to me these days, and how I can best show up in different spaces to challenge that. So thinking and acting and feeling, all of those.
Hi everyone, I'm Maya. I think I'm also in a feeling space this morning, and I'm feeling honored to be here.
Hand up, hand down.
Hand up.
All right.
I'm Jerry, and I'm definitely in a thinking space this morning. I'm really looking forward to the walk because that kind of physical activity really helps untangle that thinking space when it's a little bit crowded.
All right. I'm doing this, all right?
America, I'm in a thinking space.
Thank you.
I'm Nikki, and I'm in a grounded space today, just feeling connected with where I am and what's around me, and just being present.
I'm Charles. I live in the feeling space, so that's where I am.
Hi, Charlene, and I'm definitely in a feeling space right now. Been there for probably about a month now.
And so also to let folks know, if you're following the ceasefire movement, they're going through a kind of rebranding, renaming phase. The squad has kind of decided that they want to start focusing on what we want to see in Baltimore, not what we don't want. And so even just calling it a ceasefire movement is naming what we don't want. And so they, like, words have power, and so they want to have it to be more of a name of what we're looking for, what we're trying to build. And even with the logo, they're going to be redoing the logo as they redo the name, because a lot of folks, I guess, have said about a gun being on the logo. So if you're an anti-violence movement, why is a gun a part of your logo? It's all part of that idea of like, okay, let's put energy into the things we want to see instead of into the things we don't want to see. And so they want community input in this process. So if you all are interested, I know they're doing a meeting today. It's going to be like on Zoom and in person at like 2 o'clock on the ceasefire calendar, the details of that. But they're going to be doing ongoing like community meetings to get feedback from people on what should we call this movement, what do we want it to look like, what do we want the new logo to look like. So this will be like the last weekend that is called the ceasefire weekend. When we get to February, it will be called something new. We don't know yet. And so with Runners for Justice, this is the last time I'm doing this event. We've been doing it since May of 2018. And similar to what Holly was saying, I'm kind of in a space of trying to do more in fewer places instead of a little in a lot of places. It's kind of where I always find myself. So I'm not sure what it's going to morph into next, but there's still other things that we do as Runners for Justice, but kind of stay tuned on that one too. And to just take time, we want to take some time and read the names of the people who have lost their lives. And one of the things that I do love about this movement is, for one, it's very community-based. It wants everyone in the community to take ownership of what happens in our city, because it affects all of us, even if we don't personally know. And sometimes we do personally know people who have been lost, but even if we don't, it affects all of us. And this movement has also never been about condemning the people who are doing the killing, because we understand that murder changes everyone, and there are much bigger systems at play that are the reasons for the violence we're seeing in our city. Racism that's been, part of our city government, part of just our country forever. And like even in Baltimore specifically, all the segregation we see in our city that feeds the violence. So there's kind of blaming the individuals who are doing the murder is missing the bigger picture of why our neighborhoods look the way they do, why our city looks the way the way it does. And we just understand that murder affects everyone. It affects the people who have committed it, the people who we have lost, all of their families and friends. And so that's one of the things I really have liked about this movement too, is it's not about that. And then I think, just thinking like, when we think those bigger systems, what can we do to impact those bigger systems? Because if we want the violence to end, we've got to get at the bigger. It's not an individual problem. We've got to get at the bigger systems. Things like Shorty's always saying, like the war on drugs, things like that. We've got to get at the bigger things that are happening that are fueling the violence in our city. But also on an individual level, I think it means a lot to have all of us paying attention and caring about what happens and coming together to spend time together, to raise up their names, to just say that their lives mattered and we're thinking about them today. And so we have sidewalk chalk if you want to write any messages anywhere along the trail as we go. I also have some blank prayer flags. And so if you want to write names or messages, I'll hang those up. There's a pedestrian bridge over on Sinclair Lane that I'll hang those up at when we're done. So if you want to do those. We have snacks. I have some of this Peace Challenge Run shirts that are $20 and $5 goes back to the ceasefire movement. Because even if the name changes, they still raise funds. They help families if families need help with like funeral costs or things like that. So that money's always helpful to the movement.
Coffee and hot chocolate.
Coffee and hot chocolate. It's a ceasefire. These are the shirts. All right. These are the prayer flags.